detailed Q&A session at the end of the session. I would like to wish you all the best for the session and hope this event will be, fruitful and provide you the whatever the expectation you have from this program. We will be able to fulfill that. Thank you so much. I would also like to thank Mr. Binju. He is the expert in the international business and having the vast experience, and he has been associated with FIEO for more than 20 years and conducting multiple sessions. Sir has a vast knowledge in international business. He himself possesses a very good knowledge of export procedure and documentation. That is the reason we have requested him, and he has very humbly accepted our request. Thank you so much, sir. I would like to call you upon for the presentation. All the very best to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. You may share your screen, sir.
Yeah. 1 minute. Yes, can you see the screen?
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah, okay. Good afternoon, friend. The madam has said too much about me, so I have to now perform. I have no choice. So, friends, let me start the session. Let's start with the basics. My start will be a bit slow, but don't worry, we will take off and then we'll go 30,000 feet and then again we'll come back. Although we have a very short time, but I'll try to see what best can be done. Before I proceed, let me introduce myself. My name is Shailendra Binju. I'm into industry for more than 4 decades. That is 43 years is my experience in the industry, and I'm working as head of logistics and supply chain management in company HET Limited. It's a Bhilwara group of company. As far as academic experience, I have an academic experience of more than 20 years. I'm associated with Indian Navy, Customs, and many export promotion councils. I also travel all across the country for taking sessions and conducting in-house training programs. This subject or a topic, I can say, mastering export documentation and procedure is one of my favorite topics. I must have conducted about 100 programs in Ahmedabad on this topic. Friends, let's start the subject or a topic. See, in good olden days, there were 2 villagers. They were having a limited requirement of food, clothing, and shelter. Now, these 2 villagers have gone to next village and they have found that the consumption pattern is totally different. And when the population has increased, it was being converted into a trade. And that trade was actually that time known as barter trade. But barter trade could not sustain for longer periods of time because there were 4 major challenges in barter trade. Number 1, there was no proper measurement of value. Number 2, there was no proper coincidence of demand. Like someone is having a rice and the other person is having a sugar. So they had a different demand. So the transaction never used to happen. Third was divisibility and fourth was storage. Then people have thought, let us bring in something as a medium of exchange which can resolve the problem. Then money has come as a medium of exchange. So money has solved all the 4 problems. Like everything can be measured in terms of money. Money can be available in different denomination. Money can be stored, and can be stored. Now, what has happened when all the 4 problems got sorted out? The trade which was restricted to a local level has reached to a global level. Now, today we have a global trade. The entire world has become one market. And there are 2 things responsible for this. One is transportation and communication. Transportation and communication has brought the world very close. I can sell my product to any part of the globe. I can also source my raw material, machinery, spares from any part of the world because of the availability of the transportation. Communication, I did not have to explain you that it has become so easy that the participants all across the country, maybe from overseas, attending these sessions. So when things become easy in life, it becomes difficult for others. Today, the customer is becoming more and more demanding, and the exporter has to fulfill his requirement. You can deliver a product. Now, how to settle the payment transaction? Because different countries have different currencies. So you cannot have currency of your own country, which is valid all across the globe. So the only way to settle the transaction is documentation. So I always tell people that documentation is money. And that is the reason 99% accuracy in documentation, I can say it is 0% accuracy. You have to have 100%. And any mistake you make in documentation, whether it is a small or a big, it is a cost. The more you are perfect in documents, I think you save money for the organization. And sometimes it is visible, sometimes it is invisible. So friends, let's keep our target that we as an individual, those who are attending the session, should prepare the error-free documentation. And I tell you, it is not difficult, but you have to follow some tips or guidelines, which I'm going to tell you today. And these are not difficult, so that any common man can, or if they adopt it, I'm 100% sure that definitely there will be improvement in your, and you become master of the documentation. Friends, now let's go at a micro level and try to understand, although the ma'am has given some brief idea about the importance of document. Now I'm going much more into deep, and then let me explain you that why we should understand the export documents. Why not domestic document? Because domestic trade, you have a limited requirement of documents. But in international trade, your requirement is much more higher than the domestic trade. And that is the reason, the first reason I have mentioned, number of documents, heavy documentation. You'll be surprised. For one transaction, you have to prepare 26 documents. And although it is being prepared by different departments, different individuals, but one export transaction, you have to prepare around 26 documents. So that is the reason, if you make mistake in any of the documents, it can have implication, and that implication is very high. So that is the reason we should try to understand, and I'll try to explain you the important documents, that what care you should take while preparing those documents. Involvement of different government agencies and institutes. You have to deal with customs, ports, you have to deal with DGFT, you have to deal with Export Promotion Council, GST, RBI, banks, so many agencies. And different agencies have a different requirement. So you have to ensure that you fulfill their compliances. And each and every institute has a different way of looking at a document. The same document, they look it from a different angle. So if you make mistake in one area or in the documentation, it can have implement. For the other institute, they may not have any issue, but the institute which is concerned more has an issue. So that is the reason one document what you prepare, it has to be 100% perfect. Complex formalities. It is not so simple like a domestic trade. You get a call, you get a message, and then you dispatch it. You get a payment, chapter is closed. The process is not easy as it is in the domestic trade. So that is the reason when the formalities are complex, because the number of agencies you deal with are more, so definitely the formality becomes complex. Foreign exchange involvement. This is the most important reason that you have to prepare error-free documents. I'll give you a very simple example. Suppose if I sell a product in the domestic market for 1 lakh rupees, Indian rupees. By mistake, I have prepared invoice for 90,000 rupees. Now, the best way to settle this transaction from accounting angle, that I will raise a debit note for 10,000 rupees. So it becomes 1 lakh rupees, 90,000 invoice value and 10,000 rupees debit note. So 1 lakh rupees is the total amount, the things are settled. But the same way, if the amount or the payment is in foreign currency, instead of $1 lakh, when I submitted invoice to the customs, by mistake, I have mentioned $90,000. I'll tell you one thing, it is very difficult to amend the shipping bill. Very difficult to convince the customer that you made a mistake. There is no debit note or credit note, and you are answerable to the government. Immediately, the customs will become cautious. So that is the reason that you have to be very careful while preparing the documents. Payment risk. In case of letter of credit, which I'm going to explain, any error in the document can lead to discrepancy and your payment may get held up. I'll give a very simple example, then you will realize. Suppose in LC it is written PIECES, 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 pieces. But in a invoice, if you write PCS, short form PCS, it is a discrepancy. And your thousands of dollars get stuck just because of this small mistake. So that is the reason your transactions are purely based on the documents. And that is the reason 99% accuracy is 0% accuracy. Your payment will get stuck. Next is rules and regulations of importing country. See, if I sell a product in India, all my customers, I have to follow the same formalities. But in international trade, if I'm selling a product to Europe, if I'm selling a product to Japan, Korea, USA, I have to know and understand the documentary requirement in that country. Like in Australia, fumigation certificate is mandatory. In Canada, Canada customs invoice is mandatory. Okay. In Brazil, you have to prepare invoice and IMC in Spanish language. In South Korea, there is a weight restrictions. So you have to follow these guidelines. And if you miss out on any document, you have to pay huge penalty. And over and above that, the consignment may get left. Next is delivery commitment. In international trade, I keep on telling people that 1 hour delay is equivalent to 7 days delay. Because if you miss one connection of ship, the next connection is after 7 days. And friends, during this present scenario, due to geopolitical challenges, that 1 week delay is equivalent to 15 days delay because there are no ships available today. There are a lot of blank sailings. So you can imagine if you have committed a delivery to the customer, everything is going smooth. Your logistics is very smooth, but if you have made some error in the documents and customer has raised a query, your delivery commitment will fail. And for that small mistake, you have to pay a huge penalty to the customer if there is a delivery commitment. Export incentive. What is export incentive? I'll tell you in a very simple language. Export incentive means a refund of duties and taxes paid by the exporter while manufacturing a product. So whatever taxes you pay to the government refund you those taxes, provided your documentation should be perfect. Maybe it is import duty, that is in the form of a duty drawback or advance license, an EPCG license. Then you have another is GST, that is IGST refund. So if you make any error in the documentation, automatically the government department is not going to release your payment just because of this error. Unless you give justification to the error you made and give necessary documents, your money gets blocked and they will not release the payment. Although it is your own money, but you are not going to get it back. And for some organization, export incentive act as a working capital. It's a big money. Multiple transfer of title. Multiple transfer of title means in international trade, we use multimodal transportation. Road, rail, sea, then again by road. I can't send goods to Europe by using one mode of transportation. I have to use multimodal transportation. So I have to transfer the title of the goods to different transport operators. So if I made mistake in my first document, automatically the error gets carried away right up to the last mode of transportation. And when it is realized, it is too late to get it corrected. Last but not the least, transaction cost. Every penny is counted in international trade. Now, because of some small error in the documentation, your transaction is getting late. It can have impact on your finance cost because you must have taken a loan, pre-shipment credit, or a packing credit from the bank against LC. In that case, your money is getting blocked. Why? Because your shipment is getting late. So you will get your payment late, and by the time you have to pay a higher rate of interest. And that is the reason a small mistake in the documentation can increase your finance cost. This cannot be visible immediately, but indirectly it can have impact on your balance sheet. Broadly speaking, the export logistics process is divided into three parts: inbound logistics, shipping logistics, and outbound logistics. And at all the levels, you have to prepare the documents. What is inbound logistics? Inbound logistics means activities carried out by the exporter in the exporting country right from the receipt of an inquiry till the time goods leave the country of export. So I can say that all the activities which are carried out in the exporting country are covered under the inbound logistics. So you have to prepare the documents for removal of your product from your factory to the port. And shipping logistics. Shipping logistics covers shipping activities from loading port to destination port. So here you have to prepare shipping documents, bill of lading, very important document. Outbound logistics. See, the importer needs the document in the importing country to custom clear the goods. So the documentation also plays important role in the importing country. So at each stage of logistics, whether it is being handled by the exporter or importer, that depends on the delivery terms or Incoterms, but the documentary requirement will be there. See, although we feel that now we are in the era of digitization, but friend, still hard copy of the documents are required in some procedures. It is not that everything, all the transactions are globally settling in the form of a digitization. You need to submit hard copies of the documents also. So let's try to briefly understand this process and then I'll connect with the documents. So I'm combining the procedure with the documentation. So inbound logistics, the activities carried out in the exporting country. The first stage, it is divided into three parts: pre-shipment stage, shipment stage, and post-shipment stage. Pre-shipment state means the pre-shipment state starts once the inquiry is received from the customer till the time goods leave the manufacturing unit of exporter. So this entire process or flow of documents within the organization. Shipment stage. This is a very crucial stage. Here, the product has to flow from the factory of the exporter till the port, that is loading port. So the exporter had to monitor two things in shipment stage. One, the flow of goods, and the other is flow of documents. And the shipment activity cannot be completed unless both these activities are completed. And third is post-shipment stage. Post-shipment stage begun once the goods leave the country, however, the procedure to be completed in the exporting country. So now at each stage, you need a documentation. So in pre-shipment stage, you have to prepare pre-shipment document. Shipment stage, shipment documentation, and post-shipment documentation. So each stage, and this procedure is followed all across the globe. It is not that I'm explaining with respect to Indian context. It's basically being followed all across the globe. Now let's try to understand what happens in the pre-shipment stage and what is the flow of documents. See, generally the inquiry is received by marketing department. There is no format for inquiry. You can receive from any part of the globe. Copy is being forwarded to plant. One copy is forwarded to one copy is forwarded to quality control department to get the input from both this department. The marketing department sent one copy of inquiry to shipping department to get the shipping cost. So the marketing department collect the input from all these three departments and then sends quotation to the customer. Once the quotation is sent, then if you are competitive, you get a purchase order or a contract from the customer. That document is circulated amongst all the departments. Production department, finance department, quality control department, logistics, shipping, and documentation. Because now all the people are concerned with that document. Purchase order is a very important document. And different department will look the same document from a different angle. Production department is going to look at what is supposed to produce. Quality control has to check the specification. Finance department will prepare the document as per order. Now there is one more step that you have to send the pro forma invoice. Now what is pro forma invoice? And pro forma invoice is a very important document. Pro forma invoice is the replica of commercial invoice. It is required by customer to open a letter of credit, to get the finance in the importing country, to get the import license. So pro forma invoice, when you make a pro forma invoice, it is nothing but it is the format of commercial invoice. It's the tentative details of the invoice on the basis of which the commercial invoice is to be prepared. So what it contains? It contains the name of the exporter, importer, payment terms, delivery terms, specification, packing details. All the details are mentioned on the pro forma invoice, and the same details will appear in the commercial invoice, but the pro forma invoice will contain the tentative quantity and commercial invoice will contain the actual quantity shipped. There is no other difference in pro forma invoice and the commercial invoice. Now, once the commercial pro forma invoice is sent, LC is opened, then the goods are getting ready for dispatch from the factory. So what documents and procedure what we discussed is a pre-shipment stage. See here, it is very important to share the document. Suppose by mistake, marketing people have not shared the purchase order. So how the other departments will come to know that what action has to be taken? So that is the reason the flow of documents is to be properly controlled. Now it is very easy that you will have to set a purchase order with a CC to all the members or connected members. Now I'll just quickly brief you that this is the process. Receipt of an inquiry, to send an offer, purchase order received from the customer, to send the pro forma invoice, receipt of letter of credit, arranging pre-shipment finance, that is packing credit, manufacturing a product, readiness of product, in-house quality control, arranging pre-shipment inspect and dispatch. So this is the process of pre-shipment. Now, which are the documents we have discussed here? Inquiry, there is no format. Offer, purchase order, different organization can send the different departments can send the different format in order. Some big government department, they send a contract. Instead of purchase order, they send the contract. LC, we are going to discuss this later. Now shipment stage. Now here, once the goods are ready for dispatch from the factory, the exporter have to prepare the pre-shipment invoice. This is the first document which goes out of the manufacturing unit or from the traders organization. So the first document which is to be prepared for shipment is pre-shipment invoice. Why we call this pre-shipment invoice? The reason being that this document, you need to submit it to the customs. And the next document which you will prepare is packing list. Packing list is an extension of invoice. In detailing, packing list will not contain the value, but it will contain the packing details. So pre-shipment stage, you prepare the document, get it ready, and you submit it in the customs. So now here onwards, the shipment stage will start. So as I said, in shipment stage, you have to monitor two things, the flow of goods and the flow of documents. Now here, if you make a mistake in pre-shipment invoice, automatically this mistake will be carried in all the document. So I request all the people, those who are attending, that thoroughly check the first important document, pre-shipment invoice. If this document is correct, I'm 100% sure that 90% of your mistakes can get avoided. And if there is a mistake in the pre-shipment invoice, and if it is not being observed during the course of shipment, the mistake will carry forward. So friends, don't have put a proper check in checking the pre-shipment invoice, which is the base document on the basis of which all other documents are prepared. So whatever data you feed into pre-shipment invoice will be carried over throughout the end of the transaction. And the same data will be carried in the other documents also. Now, there are 4 ways you can physically dispatch your goods from the factory. Dock stuffing, factory stuffing, dock stuffing ICD, and factory stuffing ICD. Now, what is stuffing? Now, here I am explaining you the physical dispatch of goods from the factory. Physical procedure. Okay. Yeah, that is. Okay, now here, dock stuffing, factory stuffing, dock stuffing ICD, and factory stuffing ICD. Now here, let me explain you with this diagram. Patel Engineering Company is based in Ahmedabad. Then these are the port, these are the terminals, BMCT, GATI, JNPTN, and SICT. In case of dock stuffing, Patel Engineering Company will dispatch the goods on truck or a trailer and offload it at CFS. Now, what is CFS? CFS stands for Container Freight Station, which is a dry port located closer to the seaport. So I can say it is an extension of the port. So all the procedure of exports are carried out at CFS. There are around 35 CFS near Nhava Sheva port. So in case of dock stuffing, the goods are dispatched on truck or a trailer, offloaded at CFS. The custom procedure is carried out. Submission of pre-shipment documents, that is invoice, packing list, and declaration. And then customs department check that the documents are perfect and goods are physically checked, the 10%. They give permission that the goods are stuffed into container at CFS. We call it dock stuffing. Why? The goods are stuffed at CFS. That is the reason we say it is a dock stuffing. And once the container is stuffed and sealed, it is moved to the terminal and then it is loaded onto the ship. This process is known as dock stuffing. Now the next option is factory stuffing. In case of factory stuffing, you pick up empty container from Nhava Sheva, bring it to your factory in Ahmedabad, get the consignment stuffed at your own premises, provided you have a factory stuffing permission from customs. Send the container. The document processing will be done at CFS. But it is not necessary to take the containers to CFS. It can straight away go to the terminal. This is the biggest advantage of factory stuffing. You save on time and you save on cost. But the documents procedure is the same. What you do it in the dock stuffing. Same document, invoice, packing list, and declaration. That's all. There is no change in the procedure. Now, the exporters were facing difficulty because it is not necessary that all over India there are ports. Exporters from remote locations, they were facing difficulty because they need to have some setup near the port. To facilitate them, the government has developed ICD. ICD stands for Inland Container Depot. This is work on the same principle of CFS. The only difference between the CFS and ICD is that CFS are located closer to the port and ICDs are located closer to the industries. So in Ahmedabad, there is ICD Kodiar. So the Patel Engineering Company, rather than using dock stuffing, factory stuffing, he will use the same concept at ICD because ICD is also like a CFS. So the government has brought port closer to the exporters, so to facilitate them. Now these ICDs are connected by rail. So the same dock stuffing and factory stuffing procedure So the same procedure you can carry it out at ICD. In case of dog stuffing, you send the goods to ICD, get it stuffed, and then move it by rail. In case of factory stuffing, you pick up empty container, bring it to your factory, get it stuffed, again send the container to ICD, and then container will be taken by the Concur, because Concur generally controls ICD which are connected by a rail. Now here again the procedure for ICD also it is the same. Invoice, packing list and declaration. And sometimes the customer asks for the order or LC copy. That depends on the customs to customs. Now what does the customs checks? And why you have to prepare this document correct? Because this is one place where there can be chances of delay. So when you submit the documents to customs, your document should be error-free. So your custom clearance procedures should be done very quickly so that you can take the targeted ship. And if there is a mistake at first end, automatically there will be delay. And as I've said, you have to be very careful in preparing the pre-shipment documents. If you prepare pre-shipment documents correctly and follow the same data, connect the same data, 90% of the errors and mistakes can be avoided. Now,
So you are on mute. You're on mute.
1 second.
Yeah, now you're okay.
No, it's okay. Just go through this CFS, just read it. This is ICD. Although I've explained you, now post-shipment stage. Post-shipment stage, the first thing you have to check whether your container is physically loaded on ship. Generally, you get a message from the shipping line or your forwarder. But don't send message to customer that is loading confirmation unless you have a confirmation. And now you can't tell lie to the customer because customer can check the details on the tracking site of the shipping line. Now the days have gone that you used to fool the customer. Now once you tell the customer that the container is loaded on the ship, immediately he is going to check on the tracking site of the shipping line. And it is very important thing, you have to send a shipment advice. This is a very, very important document. I can say you have to intimate the customer immediately once the goods are loaded on the ship. Now, this document is very important. Now, two major reasons. Number one, with the help of shipment advice, which contain the details of the shipment. And the most important detail is ETA, expected time of arrival. Now, this document have two major purposes. One, in case of CFR, the customer can take insurance of the cargo. Number two, which is very important, customer can plan for the logistics at importing country. He can tell his forwarder, his logistics service provider, that this is the details of shipment which is going to arrive, so that he can monitor the arrival. If you don't give this information, the customer is in dark. So intimation to customer a shipment advice is very, very important. You can decide on your own format. There is no standard format for it. Gross weight, net weight, container number, seal number, then the name of the vessel, ETD, ETA, sailing date, ETA. This 5 to 6 major details are sufficient. Value of the cargo. It is very important for the insurance purpose. So next is processing and submission of post-shipment documents. So what we discussed, pre-shipment documents. Now, once the container is loaded on the ship, the shipping line give you the bill of lading, which is a very important document. And bill of lading is acting as a title of the goods. I'm going to explain the bill of lading more into detail. But once you get a bill of lading from the shipping line, you start preparing the post-shipment document. Now, what is post-shipment document? Post-shipment, why we say post-shipment, pre-shipment? Pre-shipment documents are prepared before the sailing of the vessel, and post-shipment documents are prepared after the sailing of the vessel. Now, you prepare the documents as per the purchase order or LC. So post-shipment documents are prepared as per the requirement of the customer. So now you have to change your focus, because when you prepare pre-shipment documents, your purpose is to seek a permission from the customs. And when you prepare a post-shipment document, you have to fulfill the requirement of the customer, because this post-shipment documents will become mandatory document or regulatory documents for customer. The next is to follow for payment and claim export incentive from government. Now, if you don't prepare pre-shipment document correctly, there will be delay in shipment. If you don't prepare your post-shipment correctly, there will be delay in getting the payment. So both the documents are important. EDI. Now, before I go to this topic, I just would like to ask you one question. I hope all of you are comfortable with the speed. Can I maintain the same speed, friends? Yes, please. I hope all of you are fine with the speed. Can I maintain the same speed, friends? Okay, thank you. Now, EDI. What is EDI? EDI stands for Electronic Data Interchange. See, earlier, the documents were prepared manually, and we have seen those days that we had to use typing machine. My God. I still remember one day we have spent a full day for checking the total of the packing list. So bad. There used to be one typing pool. No typists used to do the typing. So big bill of entry, so big. And each and every documents to be prepared. Now, thank God, the system has come, so you get the document generated very quickly. And once you put one data into the system, automatically the same data is carried out and you can generate documents through systems. Now, EDI is one process that we are using the electronic media for preparing the documents. EDI is the computer-to-computer exchange of business data in a publicly published and globally standardized format. EDI is a transfer of structured business data by agreed message standards from one computer application to another by electronic means with minimum of human intervention. This is very important. And that is the reason I said, if your pre-shipment documents are correct, that means data you have fed is correct. 100% there will not be any mistake. Because who is going to change the data? Because everything will be monitored and controlled by the system. and there is no human intervention. Earlier, at different stages, different people used to prepare different documents. So there is to be chances of error. But now your first document is correct, automatically all your documents will be correct. Now this is the advantage of EDI, preventing clerical error, time saving because it's very quick. You need a less manpower. Reduction in transaction costs. I still remember it used to take 3 days for custom clearance. Now you can get the custom clearance within hours. Quick access to information by users. The customs, post, DGFT, all these agencies share the data, RBI. Once I file a shipping bill in the system, and once it is through, all the government agencies and shipping lines, they get the data shared. So I don't have to go from pillar to post and I have to submit documents to customs for getting drawback. No, drawback amount will be automatically credited to my account. Banks can access to my data. How much is the foreign exchange is expected? When I submit a document into the bank, they can try to connect with the data which is being generated through the shipping bill. So all the users, connecting users, they can access to the data and it is the same data which is being fed into the custom system. Strategic integration of data. Now I don't have to submit an application for duty drawback. I don't have to submit such a big file and document. The duty drawback amount directly credited to my account, provided my information is correct. Minimization of paper use. Nowadays you get advanced license, GPCT license. Now everything is becoming paperless. Removes processing delay. Now the custom system will automatically, some of the shipping bills auto-generated, auto-pass. Certainty and fairness. If my documents are correct, automatically the system will be generated. Now take the example of, you can say that, income tax return. You file the return and nowadays you get refund if you are eligible for some refund within 3-4 days. I still remember it used to take years. So the same way here also I get my duty drawback within a short time. And that is auto-generated, no human intervention, provided my documents and my data should be correct. Around the clock facility, I can file the shipping bill online through ICEGATE. Reduces paper handling, filing, storage, and mailing costs. Transparency of the movement of documents. Now the next is very important. Types of export documents. Now here we are going to discuss each and every document in detail. Major documents, I can say. And what are the care you should take? Again, I've divided the documents in two parts, regulatory documents and commercial documents. Regulatory documents are those documents which are required to be prepared irrespective of the weight and value of the cargo. These documents are mandatory in nature. So I can say that all the pre-shipment documents are regulatory documents because I need to submit these documents to customs to get the permission from the customs. So I have to keep a focus of my local government department. Commercial documents are required to be prepared to settle the commercial transaction and to transfer the title of the goods from the exporter to the importer. Now I have to change my focus. When I prepare customer regulatory documents, which are as good as pre-shipment documents, my focus is to satisfy my local government department. When I prepare a commercial documents, my focus should be the customer. Because when I'm going to send this document to customer, for him, this documents will be regulatory document because he need to submit this document for custom clearance. So my focus when I prepare commercial document is customer. I should not change the basic data. Gross weight, net weight, value, HS code. This data may remain the same, but the description I can change, which is as per the customer requirement. Now let's try to understand. Regulatory documents are mandatory in nature. Exporters have to prepare these documents irrespective of quantity oblique value of product. Exporters have to keep in mind, see, this is very important. Exporters have to keep in mind the rules and regulations of exporting country while preparing these documents. I'll give a very simple example, then you will realize. Suppose there is one product, graphite electrodes. Now in India, this product is known as graphite electrodes with some HS code 85451100. So when I prepare my all pre-shipment documents, I will write graphite electrodes because my system, my country's system, custom systems, all other people, they know this product by graphite electrodes. Suppose I have received order from Brazil and the customer has given me order giving the name as Grafito Electrodo. It is in Spanish language. So if I mention this, Grafito Electrodo, my custom will not accept it. They will reject it. Because the name appearing in my system, custom system of our country is graphite electrodes. So when I prepare regulatory document, I have to write graphite electrodes. I have to forget the description given by the customer. I can write it in the bracket. And when I'm preparing a commercial document, I will write graphito electrode. So my focus in commercial documents is customer. But HS code is going to remain the same. CHA is a custom house agent, file the shipping bill in customs. Based on this document, hence the document should be error-free. So I should not make any mistake in my pre-shipment document. Because if I make mistakes, my custom clearance will get late and all the further delay can happen. I'll miss a vessel and the next vessel may be after 1 week or 2 weeks. So the delay will occur. Commercial documents. Commercial documents are required to be prepared by exporter to settle the commercial transaction and to transfer the title of the goods. Exporters have to prepare these documents as per purchase order and LC received from customer. Exporters have to keep in mind, now this is very important, exporters have to keep in mind the rules and regulations of importing country while preparing this document. If the customer says description is Grafito Electrodo, let you write Grafito Electrodo. Because see, you have already satisfied your local customs. The product name, because his customs, when the customer will submit this document into customs in his country, it can properly match because this is the name which is being generally used for this product in his country. CHA of importer filed the documents in customs for seeking permission for clearance. Based on these documents, hence the document should be error-free. The export documents received by customer, see this is very important. The export documents received by customer become the regulatory documents for him. Now these are the documents. Now invoice pre-shipment. This is the first document as I said. Now what does it contain? Now, this pre-shipment invoice date should be the date of dispatch from the factory. Now, this invoice will not be prepared in Indian rupees. See, that is for GST purpose, but this invoice will be prepared, pre-shipment invoice will be prepared in the same currency, same value as per the purchase order. Now, what does pre-shipment invoice will contain? Name of the exporter, name of the importer, payment terms, delivery terms, specification, name of the scripts which are being used, commission payable to, container number, serial number, specification or description. All these details are given on the pre-shipment invoice. I repeatedly say that please ensure that you don't make mistake in this document. Next is packing list. See, packing list is an extension of invoice. Suppose I'm sending 60 cartons of garments. So in invoice, I will mention the total of 60 cartons, gross weight and net weight, and the value of 60 cartons totally. But when I prepare a packing list, it will not contain the value, but it will contain the weight of each and individual 60 cartons. So it is an extension of invoice. Next is declaration. There are some declarations to be given to the government relating to relationship between the buyer and the seller and relating to the condition that all the information which will be given is true and correct. So there are standard format of declaration. You don't have to use your much brain into it. You have to just get it signed. Now, once you submit or send these documents to your CHA, CHA is a custom broker who carry out the customs work. You are outsourcing the custom work to them. Now, once you submit this document or send this document through email to your CHA or customs broker, he fill up or rather he feed the data into the customs ICEGATE system in the format which is already template, which is already there in the customs site. Based on these 3 documents, that is a very comprehensive data. It is purely based on these 3 documents. It will be very comprehensive data which you have to give it to the customs. Now, customs system will go through it. And some officer, he just go through this data and the data is accepted by the customs system in ICEGATE. And then the checklist is generated. What is checklist? Checklist is nothing but it is a temporary shipping bill. Checklist is nothing but it is a temporary shipping bill. Once it is generated, the CHA should check whether the data is correct. And then if there is any correction, it is to be done. And then the next document which is required to be filled up is Annexure C. This is after arrival of cargo. Annexure C contains all the details, including the shipping details, which is the shipping line, which is the vessel which is targeted. Once the consignment is ready to go, the auto charge of the customs is over, the customs system will generate shipping bill. Now, shipping bill is as good as NOC from the custom to ship the goods. Now, this shipping bill data is shared by all the government department. Like, although the data is in customs site or ICEGATE, it will be shared with DGFT, ports, shipping lines, your bankers, RBI, and many other organizations which are related to the government. So shipping bill is one-way NOC given by the customs to export your cargo. So in case of export, the permission is given by customs in the form of a shipping bill, freight payment certificate. I request all of you to just write down very important information. You write all export incentives are given on FOB value. All export incentives are given on FOB value. So you have to calculate FOB. So calculate FOB, you have to reduce the freight. So that is the reason freight certificate. Next document is verified gross mass. See, this document actually has become very important nowadays because people were misdeclaring the weight of the cargo stuffed into container. And because of this, there used to be a lot of accidents. Now the government, or not government, it's a IMO, it's an international body of shipping. They have made it very compulsory that you have to declare the correct weight which is stuffed into container to avoid the accident. Now let's come to commercial document. Enquiry, nothing much to say about it because customers can send enquiry in different form. Once enquiry is received, the exporter sends the quotation in their standard format, and then purchase order is received. Once the purchase order is received, it is to be circulated to various departments, and pro forma invoice is to be sent. Now this pro forma invoice is not the mandatory requirement from all the customers. But whenever customer asks for it, you send the pro forma invoice. I have explained you that pro forma invoice is the replica of commercial invoice. So it is in the same format of commercial invoice. Now next is commercial invoice. Now this is again a very important document. See, pre-shipment invoice is important. Why? Because you have to take a permission from customs as it contains value also. Now commercial invoice is equally important because you are going to get the payment from the customer on the basis of this invoice. It is not necessary to send the pre-shipment documents to customer. Now there is a difference in the date of invoice. See, the date of pre-shipment invoice will be the date of dispatch from the factory, and the date of commercial invoice should be the date of bill of lading. We should not forget about this. Now, commercial invoice is very important document. Why? Customer is going to release payment on the basis of this invoice. So if you make mistake here, automatically your payment will get late. Packing list, there is not much difference between the regulatory document and commercial document. Shipping instruction. Shipping instruction means you need a document bill of lading. The bill of lading is to be prepared in some format. So online you have to feed the information in the system of the shipping line. And that is the way that you should generate, the shipping line system should generate the bill of lading. So bill of lading format is to be fed in the system by the exporter or forwarder on the basis of which the final bill of lading is released. Intimation for inspection, certificate of inspection or quality control, which is issued by quality control department, insurance declaration. See, now different insurance companies issue different policies. Now, insurance companies cover the cargo risk. Now here, suppose you have taken a policy on annual basis. Suppose your annual turnover is 25 crore. Export turnover is 25 crores. So you have taken a policy for 25 crores annual export turnover. Now, it is not that in one day you are going to export 25 crores. It will be in different installment, like every day, as soon as the material is going to get ready, as per the purchase order, you are going to dispatch it from the factory. So in 25 crore policy, there will be multiple transactions. So as soon as you carry out one transaction, you pay premium for 25 crore policy, annual policy. But as soon as the first transaction happens, or as soon as the transaction happens, the system will generate insurance declaration related to that shipment. So insurance declaration is with respect to individual shipment, and the policy is related to the entire lot of the year, that how many shipments are going to happen in a year. So insurance declaration is just the amount is getting reduced from the policy. Next is insurance certificate. Now you will get insurance certificate for the entire policy. So you have one insurance certificate for 25 crore, but you have multiple declarations. And if you need to submit individual insurance certificate for a proportionate amount, this also can be given by the insurance company. Certificate of origin / GSP. See, certificate of origin means it is a document which is required by customer, which proves the originality of consignment, that this product is manufactured in India. So to prove the originality of consignment, you need to submit the certificate of origin. Now there are two types of certificate of origin. One, certificate of origin issued on non-preferential basis. That means the customer doesn't get any financial benefit out of it. And this certificate of origins are issued by local chamber of commerce, like Indian Merchant Chamber. GSP. Now GSP is one minute. It's the PPT. Now what is GSP? GSP is basically certificate of origin issued in the form of a certificate of origin GSP is generalized system of preferences. A generalized system of preferences means this certificate of origin is issued on preferential basis. Now, what is the difference between these two? Certificate of origin issued on a preferential basis are generally issued by Export Inspection Agency. This agency is a government body, and this certificate of origin on preferential basis. Why do we say preferential basis? Because this certificate of origin are issued based on the free trade agreement. Based on the free trade agreement. Now, when I say free trade agreement, it means that we have a free trade agreement with different countries. We have a free trade agreement recently we had it with UAE in London and UK, and then South Korea, Japan, Sri Lanka. So these countries, we have a free trade agreement. That means there is no duty on some of the product. So when I export to South Korea and there is a free trade agreement, so I have to collect as an exporter certificate of origin from Export Inspection Agency, which is a preferential certificate of origin, and send it to the customer. So the customer, once he submit it into his country, he is going to get the import duty benefit. So in that case, you did not have to submit the certificate of origin from local chamber of commerce. So that is the reason you should be aware of whether your product is covered in free trade agreement, and then you should approach the agency so that the customer can get the benefit. Sometimes the customer knows it and they ask you to send the certificate of origin in GSP format so that they can get the import duty benefit. One minute. What's happening? I think there is some issue. 1 minute.
So you can close the file and share the screen again.
I'll just close it. Why it's happening like this? I'll share it again. 1 second. Bill of lading. See, bill of lading is again a very important document. Bill of lading is a very important document issued by the shipping line. This document has more relevance than any other document. This document is issued by shipping line. I'm going to explain this document more in detail. Shipment advice. Shipment advice, I have explained although this document to be prepared as soon as the goods leave the country. Now, shipment advice is the first hand information from the exporter to the importer informing about the shipment. As I've said, two main purposes. One, for insurance purpose, and second, for information purpose, so that the customer can arrange the logistics at his country. Letter to bank for collection/negotiation. This is just a covering letter to the bank. Now, these are the shipping documents. Lorry receipt. See, the purpose of all this, we also call these shipping documents as transport documents. Road transportation. When I send goods by road, I can also export to Bangladesh. To Bangladesh, I can export by road. So, lorry receipt, LR. Short form is LR. When I send goods by rail transportation, it is railway receipt, RR. Sea transportation, bill of lading. And air transportation, airway bill. The purpose of all the four documents, they are acting as the title of the goods. That means person who owns this document is the owner of cargo. That is the reason the bill of lading plays important role. Airway bill play important role. It's money. Bill of lading, if the importer gets bill of lading, it means he becomes the owner of the goods. The shipping line will give the cargo to the owner of the bill of lading, although there are different types of bill of lading. So friend, these documents are very important. I'm going to explain you EGM and IGM. EGM stands for Export General Manifest and IGM stands for Import General Manifest. I'm explaining this. Freight bill. Freight bill, as I've told you that you need a freight bill because you get the export incentive from the government on the basis of FOB. Now, bill of lading. It is issued in 3 originals by shipping company. See, this is a old practice. Although it is being followed still, the purpose that it is issued in 3 original, although only 1 copy is required at destination for clearance, because it is being sent by a different mode. And it is mentioned in the LC sometimes that 3 by 3 original bill of lading, 1 by 3 original bill of lading. Original means it is written on the bill of lading original BLs. Okay. It is an acknowledgement of cargo in safe and sound condition. Once the shipping line gives a bill of lading, that means they are taking the responsibility to take your cargo from the port of loading and getting it delivered to the place of destination or unloading port or destination port. It acts as a title of the goods. As I said, it is a title of the goods. The person who owns it, who has its copy, is the owner of the goods. It is a negotiable document. You can get payment from the bank on the basis of this document. It is a contract of freight between shipper and shipping company. Now, there are different types of bill of lading. See, you must be reading the LC. In LC, they write 3 original clean onboard bill of lading. Clean onboard bill of lading. What do you mean by clean? Does it mean that it should look clean? No. Clean original shipped on board bill of lading means there should not be any adverse remark related to cargo in that bill of lading. Now, what can be the adverse remark? The adverse remark can be related to cargo. Suppose cargo wet, cargo damage. So all these details, if it is written, 5 wooden crates damage, it is written. The bill of lading is looking very neat and clean. But somewhere they have mentioned in the bill of lading 5 wooden crates damage. The moment this remark, something against the cargo, it is considered as closed bill of lading. So the bank will not make the payment against the closed bill of lading because there is some adverse remark related to the cargo. When there is no adverse remark related to cargo, automatically the bill of lading becomes clean. It is not necessary to write word clean. Receipt for shipment bill of lading. See, once you hand over cargo container to shipping line, it is not that the container is immediately loaded on ship. Suppose the ship is after 4 days and you tell shipping line that give me bill of lading. They will say, okay, we'll give you bill of lading, but we will re-give the bill of lading as received for shipment. We are received, but yet to be loaded. So that is the reason the customer always says clean shipped on board bill of lading. What is shipped on board? Shipped on board means container actually loaded on the ship. So the customer is safe. Otherwise, what you will do? You will give the cargo to the shipping line, and then as soon as you get the money, you will withdraw the cargo from shipping line. So that is the reason customer do not want to take any chance. That is the reason he always want, you just check any LC, it is written clean onboard bill of lading. Through bill of lading. Through bill of lading means when the customer asks you to deliver right up to his door, and you ask the shipping line to arrange for multimodal transportation. Multimodal means the shipping line will arrange the shipping arrangement, they will also do the last mile transportation by road or by rail. So this bill of lading is a through bill of lading because it is covering the sea journey as well as road journey. And the bill of lading should mention multimodal transport document. So one document, bill of lading, is purpose serving the two purpose, lorry receipt as well as the bill of lading. So two documents are combined in one document. That is the reason we say through bill of lading, one end to the other end. Seaway bill of lading. This seaway bill of lading, generally the customer has to submit original bill of lading to get the delivery of cargo in normal practice. But suppose I know the customer and customer don't want to wait for the original documents and I know that my payment is safe, I will ask the shipping line to give me seaway bill of lading so the customer can get the delivery of cargo without submitting the original bill of lading. Master bill of lading and house bill of lading. I'll explain you this. See, I can directly deal with the shipping line. But when I use some middleman like a freight forwarder or NVOCC, NVOCCs are acting as a middleman. They have their own containers. They have their own containers. Now this agency give containers to the shippers. They also consolidate LCL cargo. So what these three people can do, they can give their partial cargo or LCL cargo to SAM Logistics Company. The SAM Logistics Company will club their cargo into one container and then give 3 house bill of lading. And they will load this container on shipping line vessel, MSC line. So shipping line will give 1 bill of lading, that is master bill of lading to SAM Logistics Company, because they are acting as a middleman, and SAM Logistics in turn will issue house bill of lading. So master bill of lading is always issued by shipping line, either to shipper or forwarder or NVOCC, but freight forwarders and NVOCC can only issue house bill of lading. Okay. Now this is EDI procedure. And whenever you file a document in customs, you have to do registration. What documents you have to submit generally? IE code, which is issued by DGFT, AD code, which is issued by your banker, RCMC, which is issued by the Export Promotion Council, export license, once you have to register, opening current account for duty drawback. Now they do the customs examination, roll of sample, and this is the procedure. This is EDI procedure, very simple procedure. Now these are the post-shipment documents. Although we have covered the major document, covering letter to bank, original LC purchase order, bills of exchange. See, bills of exchange is a document which is actually acting as a proof of debt. When you sell your cargo on a credit basis, this document is to be accepted by customer. I'll explain when I'll explain DA. Invoice, consular invoice means duly legalized, packing list. Certificate of origin we have discussed, bill of lading, payment certificate, test certificate, fumigation certificate. As I said, it's a pest control certificate, in short I can say. Intermodal certificate is related to weight, which is used in USA. packing declaration, that what type of packing material you have used, ISF filing. See, after attack on Twin Tower in USA, the exporter have to give advance intimation. One minute. So, ISF filing. बघा बघा कोण आहे. 62, 83, 84. 83, 84. So third party inspection. See, sometimes you get the cargo inspected from third party like SGS, Bureau Veritas. So you have to get the certificate from. This can be the part of letter of credit. Shipment advice. Shipment advice is the first and information which I have explained to you from the exporter to the importer. Now these are the documentary requirement. Certificate. Now this is very important. See, sometime in LC you get many certificates to be issued. So there is one simple principle you should follow. First, you write on your letterhead of the concerned authority who is going to issue this certificate. You have to write to whomsoever it may concern. This is to certify that. Then use the language which is given in the LC. So like, let's take the first certificate. Certificate from shipper regarding sending of non-negotiable documents. So how you have to prepare this certificate? To whomsoever it may concern, this is to certify that non-negotiable documents sent to the customer. Point number 2. This is to certify that partial quantity as per PI. So this standard format you should follow. And the agency which is supposed to issue this certificate should be on their letterhead, duly signed and stamped. Should not be system generated. Generally, it all depends. Okay. A certificate from shipping company. Why there is a restrictions? Because for insurance purpose, they give restrictions. So these are the certificates which are vary from LC to LC. Now this is payment terms. Payment terms means when you submit the documents to bank, that is post-shipment document, you submit the documents in different payment terms which are negotiated at the time of signing a contract. Now, these are 4 major ways which are followed in general in international trade. Advance payment. Generally, advance payment you don't get because the customer should have trust on you. Because you get advance payment and then you don't ship, then unless the customer, your product is a monopoly product and the customer has trust and faith in you, or if you are putting a condition that since you're dealing for the first time, you can send the advance payment then generally not being followed in day-to-day activities. But let's try to understand how does it work. See, in case of advance payment, let's understand one by one all the 4 options. In case of advance payment, importer will send the forex to importer bank. Importer bank will send the forex to exporters bank, and exporters bank will give funds to exporter. This will be in foreign currency. So it is the payment first, and then you send the documents to the importer. So this is the channel of the flow of documents. And this is a global practice. What I'm explaining you, this document procedure is followed all across the globe. Same. There is no difference. Now the next is documents against acceptance. In case of documents against acceptance, the exporter will send a document to exporter's bank. Exporter bank will send a document to importer bank, and importer bank will get the signature on the bill of exchange of the importer. Suppose the payment terms are at 90 days. So it is to be written on the bill of exchange. And he will get that this is accepted. And once the customer accepts the condition of the bill of exchange, the importer bank will hand over the documents to importer. Now, this is a risky payment terms. Why? Customer get the title of the goods without making the payment. But he has only signed a document, and that document is bill of exchange. That document can be submitted as a proof of debt in the court of law. So bill of exchange is very important document. Next is DP. Now DP is bit safer payment terms. In case of documents against payment, the exporter will send the document to exporter's bank. Exporter bank will hold the document and ask the importer that unless you pay, I'm not going to hand over you the document. So in case of DP, the title of the goods remains with the exporter. If the customer doesn't pay, at least you can divert that consignment to somebody, or you can re-import into your country. So don't accept DA terms unless you know the customer very well. You have a trust, and it is always better to take ECGC policy, Export Credit Guarantee Corporation. ECGC covers the credit risk. Letter of credit. Now, this is the safest mode of payment. A letter of credit is basically a guarantee from a bank that a particular seller will receive a payment due from particular buyer. Why it is safer? Because the bank is giving guarantee. The bank guarantees that the seller will receive a specified amount of money within a specified time. In return for guaranteeing the payment, the bank will require that strict terms are met, provided exporter should submit and fulfill all the conditions of the LC. And the most important condition is documentary requirement. Now see, this is a process. The process of documents is the same. Now let's try to understand different policy LCs. Irrevocable credit. This type of letter of credit cannot be amended or cancelled by the buyer unless there is a confirmation from seller. So this is safe. Once the customer has opened LC, he can't change the LC without consent of the seller. Irrevocable confirmed letter of credit. But sometimes what happens, although LC is a very safe payment mode, but sometimes suppose somebody is buying from Africa, some African, there is a buyer. But that African bank, you don't have trust. I'm just giving an example. So you don't trust whether this African bank, you must have heard for the first time. So you want to get yourself secured from some other bank. So you involve one other bank, that is confirming bank. Let this confirming bank be a Standard Chartered bank. So in this case, if the African bank don't pay, the confirming bank will make the payment. Okay, so confirming bank adds the guarantee that in case if the issuing bank defaults on payment, we are going to make the payment. For that, you'll have to pay the charges. Next is transferable LC. Transferable LC means when there is a middleman involved. Suppose I get LC, but I don't manufacture all the equipment part. Okay, I got order for one machine, but some of these parts I'm getting it manufactured from some other vendor. So I transfer part of the LC to the vendor. But in that case, it is a risk because my vendor comes to know who is actually the original buyer. So next time he contacts him and there is a direct link between them. To avoid that, there is one more type of LC, that is back-to-back LC. In case of back-to-back LC, there are two LCs involved. One LC will be opened on the trader. Okay. Now the trader he has to purchase some goods from someone. What trader will do, rather than transferring this LC to the actual manufacturer, he will open another LC on manufacturer that is in Indian rupees. So the manufacturer do not know who actually is the buyer because the transaction between trader and the buyer is in foreign LC and transaction between the manufacturer and the trader is in Indian rupees. So there are two LCs are required, back-to-back LC. It is on this almost on the same format, but one LC will be in foreign currency and one LC will be in Indian rupees. Revolving LC. Revolving LC is open for a long period, generally for a year. Suppose there are multiple transactions to happen. Suppose there are 12 transactions happen. Suppose you open LC for 12 months. Every month you have a regular requirement. Your monthly requirement is 10 lakh rupees. So your yearly requirement becomes 1 crore 20 lakh rupees. 10 lakh into 12, 1 crore 20 lakhs rupees. So the buyer will open only one LC for 1 crore 20 lakhs total amount. But at any given time, you can ship the goods for 10 lakh rupees. Or generally, this is for use in the domestic trade. So there is a limit of LC per transaction is 10 lakh rupees, but the total value of the LC will be 1 crore 20 lakh rupees. For the next transaction, the buyer is to reinstate the LC for the next 10 lakh rupees. So this is revolving LC. The amount is revolving by 10 lakh rupees per transaction, but the total value of the LC and the validity of the LC is for 1 year. Now this is import documents. So export documents and import documents, they are the same. Now let's presume that we are importer. So you know the export procedure. So exporter has sent a document to exporter bank. Same documents what we discussed, invoice, packing list, BL. Suppose I am importer. So my bank, State Bank of India, will hand over me the documents. So the exporter document prepared by exporter, once I receive, it becomes import documents. So there are nothing changed, no change in import documents. It is the person who holds it, it becomes exporter or importer document. Now I will approach when I receive the documents from my exporter. I will ask my CHA to file bill of entry in the customs. So in exports, the permission is given on the basis of shipping bill, and for imports, the permission is given on the basis of bill of entry. Now, bill of entry is prepared on the basis of documents received from the exporter, which are actually known as import documents. Same invoice, packing list, BL. Now, what is this IGM and EGM? See, EGM stands for Export General Manifest. Now, it is a mandatory requirement in all the customs all over the world that the shipping line has to submit one document. It's a consolidated document containing the details of cargo which is being carried by them on the ship. Content of the ship, what the cargo they are carrying to importing country. Suppose they are carrying 100 containers from, let's say, from Hamburg to Navashiva. From Hamburg to Navashiva, CMA has loaded 100 containers. So the EGM will contain details of all the 100 containers, including the description, value, gross weight, net weight of each and every consignment of 100 containers. So that consolidated statement is known as EGM. Now, one copy is submitted to their customs in Hamburg. One copy will be sent to CMA India. Now, CMA India will submit the same document, which is known as IGM, Import General Manifest, informing the customs that this is the cargo which is arriving into Navashiva on this vessel. So the importer has already filed the details in the customs system. So this is the procedure. Noting. So the customer, the importer will file the documents into customs along with the bill of entry, and the customs is going to check the data with the IGM. What is IGM? IGM is the same document of EGM. And what is EGM? EGM is the same document which is prepared on export document. So export documents become import documents. So EGM becomes IGM. So definitely it will tally, because IGM should definitely tally with the import documents, because both the parallel documents are prepared in the exporting country. Next is assessment. So they will check that right product is imported at right price. And then the importer is supposed to make the duty payment, then physical examination by the customs, and then out of charge. Now this is second check. Why second check? Because here the first duty is paid and then physical examination. So then we call this procedure, import procedure, as second check. Why? First duty payment and then examination, then out of charge. Noting, assessment. Sometimes the customs department is not in a position to understand the product, and they're not able to understand the duty implication. So they ask the importer that first you get this examined and get the report being done. On the basis of customs report, they will decide that what is the duty should be applicable. So first check means first the cargo is checked, then the duty is decided, and then once the duty is paid based on the reassessment, then out of charge. Out of charge means the customer, the importer can take the delivery of cargo. Now this is a very important slide. How you can prepare the error-free document. I have discussed many documents, but remember this points. I'm sure you become master of the document. Before discussing this slide, very important tip which I'm giving you. Always when you do something, it is better you cross-check yourself. I'll give you a very simple example. When I'm writing a mail, I read it twice or thrice when I'm writing to very seniors. I want to check whether I have written a correct mail. There may be sometimes we are typing it in a hurry. See, you're sending a WhatsApp message to your friend, that's fine. But if you're sending a message or you're writing something to the management, top management, if you are preparing a document, You're feeding any information which is important, maybe your passport application, maybe your visa application, always check or cross-check the data which you have fed it. I'll tell you one thing, if you make that habit to checking yourself at least once, I'm sure 99% of the time you will be not making mistakes and you will be termed as perfectionist. So when I tell people how there can be 100% perfection, there are people who are 100% perfect because they're confident. It doesn't mean that they don't check themselves. They must be checking 10 times if some critical information. I'll give a very simple example. When somebody is making some idol, so that artist look the idol from a different angle, and then unless he is satisfied, he don't finish it off. And then last, the idol or a painting, whatever it may be, it looks beautiful. So it is not at a first stroke. A lot of people do so many things in a hurry-burry. No hurry-burry. Do it diligently, and your target should be 100% perfect. Concept of maker and checker. Routine documents, you just keep this practice. Let the person who prepares it, let there be a checker. And that is the reason you see in banks, it happens generally. Strict adherence to standard operating procedure. SOP to be designed. Dedicated team for documentation. Random checking of documents by seniors. Updated knowledge on country-wise procedure and compliances and training. Try to attend training, try to learn more, something about it. Now this is the checklist for pre-shipment documents. I'm going to share this PPT to the FIEO on, I think already shared, they will share it to you. This is the checklist. This is checklist for post-shipment document. See, these are the areas you should be ready with this checklist. The clause bill of lading is to be avoided. Don't take clause bill of lading because your payment will get stuck up. It is better not to ship rather than getting the clause bill of lading. Okay. Thank you, friends. I've tried my level best to give you the maximum input in 2 hours time. And now, ma'am, the platform is open for question and answer session.
Thank you, Binju sir. Can we now start the Q&A session? Requesting participants to kindly raise your hands. Yes, Miss Ruchi. Ma'am, kindly unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Ruchi. Mr. Sunay. Mrs. Sunay? Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful session. Sir, I wanted to know in this commercial invoice, this shipping bill, they tell that as per actuals, there will be things. So, commercial invoice we are supposed to give after the ship leaves, I mean, after we get the proper BL when it leaves the country, or we are supposed to give it before so that the rest of the payments can be transferred.
See, there is a difference between the pre-shipment invoice and commercial invoice. Commercial invoice should be exactly as per the order, and it is to be prepared after the bill of lading is received, after the shipment is effected. And it should be exactly as per the purchase order and LC. And the date of the commercial invoice should be the date of bill of lading, not the date of dispatch from the factory. And it is not necessary that you mention the shipping bill number detailed, or rather you should not give any information like a commission or the incentive scheme, what benefits you're claiming on the commercial invoice. You should not educate to the customer what benefits you are getting. So in short, when you're preparing a commercial invoice, you have to just keep the basic data same, and all other data should be as per customer requirement, purchase order and LC. That's all.
Sir, two more questions, sir. One is on the when they say payment against scanned copy of BL. So,
Payment?
like payment on scanned copy of BL, bill of lading.
Scanned copy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, like 50% or 30%. So, by that time, if the material is already loaded on the ship and then they give the BL, and if the payment does not come, so can we take the material back, or how do we?
No. See, listen one thing. I'll tell you one thing. It is 50% payment. You are already carrying a risk. Okay, you are already carrying a risk. Once it is loaded, you are already carrying a risk. And calling it back. Okay, first and foremost thing, you should not agree with this condition. Okay, either you can ask them to give us a 50% advance or something like that. But it is as good as you have already surrendered. See, once the shipment is done, that means it is already surrendered, because bringing back your own consignment is, number one, it is a costly affair. And number two, it is again also, it is very complicated procedure, and it will be considered as an import. And even if you divert, there are so many complications. So rather, I request that you should not agree to this, because the shipment means it is as good as he is free now. And then I know that your payment will get stuck. So it is a total risk. Okay, so I think I suggest that you should not accept these terms. You should avoid, unless you know someone, because otherwise it's very risky payment terms. Yes.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Hello. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Miss Bhumika? Ma'am, kindly unmute yourself.
Ma'am, not able to.
Yeah, I can hear you, ma'am.
Oh, you can hear? Thank you. Good evening, sir, and really grateful for this amazing session, sir. Very learning. Sir, I have a buyer who is asking me phytosanitary certificate along with the PI, because he is issuing me the funding through bank, and he is asking to give the phytosanitary before the cargo is even have reached to the port. So how can I do that? I asked him for another documents which can help us about the testing of the product, or anything which can verify that the product is in good quality or asset. But he is insisting to give me phytosanitary certificate along with the PI, or else the bank won't issue the fund.
Madam, cannot be done at your own premises or your warehouse or something?
Sir,
I'm
I'm a merchant exporter. I
You
have a
get it done.
supplier.
No, but get it done at suppliers then, na?
So
You
can
get it
we
done.
can we
100%.
issue? Oh, okay, wonderful,
Yeah,
sir.
because he is not concerned, na? He needs the certificate. That's
Right,
all.
sir.
And you can get it done at the same premises where the cargo actually is lying. And
Okay,
there is
sir.
nothing like it, because he's not asking a wrong thing.
Okay, sir.
Okay, he wants to get certified that the cargo is in safe and sound condition and it's being allowed. So you can do that. You can get the inspection done at the premises of the supplier or the manufacturer or whoever it may be.
My CHA told me this cannot happen because this has to be done on the port itself by the customs. So, madam, ये नहीं होगा.
Customs?
That is, yeah.
Who said?
CHA told me that way.
Nahi,
That
nahi.
you,
I'll
no,
tell
sir.
you one thing. I'm sorry to say, if any CHAs are not God.
Thank you,
Because
sir. That was
they
a
tell
great.
you, I'm so sorry if some CHA is there, because I always argue with my CHA. I said, don't try to teach me. I have more experience than your age. So it is better that don't totally believe. I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. A lot of people have so much knowledge, but they don't have two things. And those are so simple. And if you use your logic and common sense, 90% of the life problems are solved.
Thank
So
you so
whenever I
much.
don't get any answer, I use only logic and common sense. So we
Okay.
have to use logic and common sense. Who is he? He is not the final authority.
Right, sir.
I'm so sorry if some CHA is attending this session. They will really beat me. But otherwise, I request you, your knowledge should superpower the knowledge of your CHA. I never believed them. I said, no, let me get satisfied. Let me get first. If I am sure, then it's fine. Otherwise, don't try to teach me. Yes, please.
Sir, you have my knowledge, sir. Sir, if any time we get stuck with some formalities or
Yeah,
any
my
rules,
email is
can
there.
we mail
Yeah,
to you,
yeah,
sir? Thank
yeah.
you, sir. That's a great help, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Great
you.
evening, sir.
Thank you. Great.